city of Chicago one cold dark night. The blizzard was setting in. A little boy was selling newspapers on the corner. People were passing by trying to hurry to their warm homes where they'd been out of the cold. It was so cold the little boy wasn't selling very many papers. He walked up to a policeman and he said, "Mister, you wouldn't happen to know where a poor boy could find a warm place to sleep tonight, would you?" He said, "You see, I sleep in a box up around the corner there and down the alley. And it's awful cold in there at night. Sure it would be nice to have a warm place to stay." The policeman looked down at the little boy and he said, "You go down to that big white house and knock on the door. When they come to the door, you just say John 3:16, and they'll let you come in." So he did. He walked up the steps and knocked on the door. Finally, a lady came. He looked up and said, "John 3:16. The lady said, "Come on in, son." She took him in and set him down in his foot bottom rocker in front of a great big old fireplace. And then she went off. He sat there for a while. Then he thought to himself, John 3:16. I don't understand it, but it sure makes a cold boy warm. Later she came back and she asked him, "Are you hungry?" He said, "Well, just a little. I haven't eaten in a couple of days, I guess. I could stand just a little bit of food." So she took him into the kitchen and set him down to a table just full of nice food. He ate until he couldn't stand no more. Then he thought to himself again, John 3:16. Boy, I sure don't understand it, but it sure makes a hungry boy full. She took him off upstairs to a bathroom, to a big old bathtub full of warm water. And he sat there and he soaked for a while. As he soaked, he thought to himself, John 3:16. I sure don't understand it, but it sure does make a dirty boy clean. You know, I've not had a bath, I guess, my whole life. The only bath I ever had was when I stood in front of a big old fire when they flushed it out. She came and got him and took him into a big old feather bed, pulled up the covers around his neck, kissed him goodnight, and turned out the lights. He lay there in the darkness, and as he looked out the window with the snow coming down, it was so cold and dark outside, he thought to himself, my, John 3:16. I don't understand it, but it sure makes a tired boy rested. The next morning she came back up and took him down to that same big table full of food. After he ate, she took him back to that big old split bottom rock in front of the fireplace. And she took a big old Bible and set it down in front of him. Looked up at him and said, "Do you understand John 3:16? He said, "No, ma'am, I don't." He said, "The first time I ever heard it was last night when the policeman told me to use it." Then she opened the Bible to John 3:16 and began to tell him about Jesus. Right there in front of that big old fireplace, he gave his heart and life to Jesus. He sat there and he thought, my, John 3:16. I don't understand it, but it sure makes a lost boy feel safe. You know, I have to confess, I don't understand it either. How God would be willing to send his son to die for me, and how Jesus would agree to do such a wonderful thing. No, I don't understand it either. But you know, it sure does make this old lost man saved. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved